The 2025 Polish presidential election was anything but predictable. It gripped the entire nation on the edge until the very last hour, like a good Netflix show. So before the first round, the polls shows that there is a clear win for Trzaskowski, who got 10% of advantage over Nawrocki, which is the conservative candidate. But when the first round came, it turned out that Poland leaned more conservative to more right than expected. Trzaskowski lead over Nawrocki shrank to only 2%. Meanwhile, two right-wing candidates of Confederation Party reached the third and the fourth place, Sławomir Mencen and Grzegorz Braun. And the combined votes suggested that there is a clear majority for conservatives. And the most surprising thing was that Grzegorz Braun got its fourth place. He is known for very controversial actions, such as burning the flag of the EU or putting out Jewish candles in the Polish parliament. Sławomir Mencen, on the other hand, very well known among young voters, suddenly found himself in a powerful spot. He knew that those two candidates are gonna need his 15% electorate. So instead of endorsing one of the candidates but Mencen, he would take another route, another strategic route, which was inviting both candidates separately on a 90 minutes live stream conversation, giving them a chance to convince his supporters why they deserve a vote. On top of that, Mencen prepared an 8-point declaration, so the newly elected president would commit to first openly oppose any law that increases taxes in Poland, protect cash and Polish currency, reject restrictions on freedom of expression, oppose sending Polish troops on Ukraine, also reject Ukraine's accession to NATO, oppose laws limiting access to firearms, also to resist transferring powers from Polish authorities outside Poland to the EU, and reject the ratification of any EU treaties that could diminish Poland's sovereignty, such as the right for the president to veto. First came Karol Nawrocki, who signed the declaration agreeing with the 8 points. But when Trzaskowski came, he only agreed to 4 points, but he didn't sign the declaration as Nawrocki did. So it looked like a clear win for Nawrocki, right? But after that, there was attacks on Nawrocki from the mainstream media that mainly belong to the left. And they found old allegations against Karol Nawrocki, the conservative candidate, that he took part in illegal fights and also taking part in involvement in pimping relating activities. Until now, there is no proof of that, no solid evidence, so all it is based on rumors. But it was enough to stir the emotions, to stir the pot and crank up the polarization even more. The second round election night was a roller coaster. Exit polls, which are really reliable in Poland, showed Trzaskowski a win with 0.5% advantage. Celebration erupted among centrist camp with Donald Tusk, Prime Minister Donald Tusk, and of course Rafał Trzaskowski, who declared himself as already as a president. He even gave a speech as if he already was a president of Poland, calling even his wife a first lady. And boy, how they were wrong, because at 11 o'clock at night, more and more votes were counted from conservative rural regions and citizens voting abroad. The tide shifted and it became clear that Karol Nawrocki is gonna become a newly elected president by a razor-thin margin. The difference was almost 400,000 votes, which is equivalent to a big city in Poland. It is said that it was the most important election, which shows voters' participation reaching levels not seen since 1990s. Why were the stakes so high? You know, Poland faces a deep political divide. A government led by a centrist Donald Tusk, while the president comes from the conservative background. And that means constant clashes, more differences than common ground. If Trzaskowski had won the election, he would have aligned with the Prime Minister Donald Tusk agenda, which is opening the doors to massive immigration, pushing hate speech, which is actually the opposite of that, just like in United Kingdom, where people go into jail by posting hateful comments on Facebook. Even the plan was to introduce euro, which is seen by critics as a direct threat to Polish national sovereignty.